we've had that dynamic, that relationship our whole life. He's much older than me, so growing up, he was always instructing me, coaching me, helping me out. But it's a lot of fun to get in there and work with him and learn from him because he's one of the best coaches out there.
Coming up tonight on The Extra Point, find out who WKU football and men's basketball teams have added to their schedule.
The past few outings haven't been too kind to the WKU Diamond Boys. We'll tell you why coming up right here on The Extra Point.
With all the action from around Warren County and your WKU Hilltoppers, this is The Extra Point.
Welcome to The Extra Point. I'm Marcus Browning.
And I'm Karen Iser. Marcus, we both like to talk quite a bit, and we've only got 30 minutes.
Well, I guess we better get started. WKU's track and field program is facing a 50% budget cut for the upcoming season. Head coach Eric Jenkins told the College Heights Herald on Wednesday. He mentioned to the Herald that the message came down from the top of the hill, and I relayed that message to my team. When asked on the subject, WKU Director of Athletic Communications and Media Relations Kyle Neves said, quote, "I can offer no specifics beyond that at this point in time," end quote. Members of the WKU track team wrote an open letter to Todd Stewart. Visit newschannel12.com/The Extra Point to view the letter. In recent years, WKU's athletic programs have had quite the success in their respective sports. But that's not the only place WKU athletes are having success. WKU released a statement yesterday saying that for the first time in school history, every Hilltopper athletic program has achieved a 4-year comprehensive annual progress rate score of 950, which is 20 points higher than the NCAA's minimum of 930. 9 WKU programs posted a score of 975 or higher, which has helped the Hilltoppers to be one of 8 schools in Conference USA to boast all APR scores over 950 or higher in the 2015-2015 APR report.
From the classroom to the gridiron, the WKU football is back in action this Saturday, WKU's annual Red and White game. The WKU football team has been practicing since mid-March, and after countless scrimmages and drills, the team will finally be able to put a show on for the Hilltopper faithful this weekend. Saturday's festivities include free admission to the game, free parking, and even free tailgating. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. The Braun brothers, Jeff and Brian, are taking to the field together Saturday for the first time since their run at Louisville. Reporter Amanda Johnson went to LT Smith Stadium to talk to the players and coaches about the dynamic duo and the upcoming spring game.
I mean, I think that's every brother's dream come true to be able to coach with your brother. You know, Greg's here too. I think that's a dream come true to be with your family and, you know, be able to have success with them that I think we're going to have.
Come on, Go, get over there, Campbell.
It's a lot of fun. He was my coach when I played in college, so we definitely have a history of being involved in football together, and him kind of being in a little bit upper command of me as my coach and now as the head coach. So we've had that dynamic, that relationship our whole life, but it's a lot of fun to get in there and work with him and learn from him because he's one of the best coaches out there.
You can picture them in the meeting room or something, you know, kind of arguing, going at it like brothers because they're smart and they both have probably different philosophies. They probably think the same in a lot of areas, but I think it's pretty cool.
We haven't talked about exactly how we're going to do it Saturday. We have been pretty much giving the guys equal reps throughout camp, so we got to sit down as a coaching staff and talk about how we want to do it for the spring game. We always have new things we're going to put in every single year. The base offense is going to stay pretty much the same, but yeah, we got 4 different quarterbacks that all possess different skill sets, so we're trying to find out which one we're going to use, and we'll try to accentuate his best skills when we're out there.
I'm not really thinking about attendance. I really hope that everyone comes out and supports us. I mean, I think we're a new look team. We appreciate all the fans we can get. Whoever comes out here, there could be 0 people out here, there could be 12,000 people out here. So, I mean, I hope it's a packed house. I hope they can fill it up as much as they can. And I've seen a lot of things on social media where people are trying to advocate for people to come out here, and I think that's great. I think there's an excitement there.
Fans will have the opportunity to see the dynamic duo in action this Saturday at Fikes Field.
Louisville, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, LSU. What do they all have in common? WKU has played them in recent years. But guess what? There will be a new school added to that list in the near future. That school being the Wisconsin Badgers. WKU released Tuesday that the Hilltoppers and Badgers have agreed to a 3-game multi-sport series that sends the men's basketball team to Madison in December of 2017, as well as the football team in September of 2018. The deal also brings the Badgers men's basketball club to Diddle Arena in December of 2018. Wisconsin will be the second active Big Ten school to visit Diddle Arena, following the number 13 in the country Michigan Wolverines, who defeated Coach Jim Richards' final squad in November of 1977. Now, Karen, bringing a team like Wisconsin is a huge staple and step for WKU.
Right. Marcus, what do you think it will do for this WKU program overall?
I think overall it helps them, obviously, because it gives them the ability to grow. Whenever a team, for one, money from the TV contracts, but whenever a team is on the national scale of things and is being talked about, it helps recruits come to them and say, hey, you know, this school's playing big name opponents. I think that this is really huge for this school, and for WKU to be able to get a staple basketball program such as Louisville a couple of years ago, but to get them to bring Wisconsin into Diddle Arena is a huge step.
Right, Marcus, and you touched on Louisville. Louisville has done the same thing for their program almost in a way. They started out Conference USA, just like WKU, moved to the Big East, then to the ACC. What do you think now? Do you think Western will be able to move on the same way that Louisville moved?
I think that there's a possibility. I think give it 10 years and you might see headlines of WKU looking to go elsewhere. And I think that if I had to say today a conference that WKU would move to, it would be the American Conference. I feel like the American Conference is the Big East to Louisville, because Louisville was able to grow really fast and they went from the Big East. Once the Big East fell apart, they went to the ACC. So I think that the fact that WKU has the potential and they are adding these big names, I think that it really helps them. And just in a decade, you never know, we might see them going to the American Conference.
And we might see them moving on further through a conference. Despite having a hot start to the season, the WKU baseball team has hit just slight of a rough patch. The Diamond Boys traveled up to Evansville, Indiana with a go-around with the Aces last night, and the midweek trip was unsuccessful. The Tops had a hitting success, going for 8 runs on the night, but following 2 errors, Coach Pulowski's squad couldn't keep up with the Aces' hot bats. As well, WKU converted just 2 runs on 8 hits, falling to the Aces in the final of 6-2. And on Tuesday, the Tops battled against Belmont in an evening showdown at Nick Dennis Field. The game was all tied up in the bottom of the 10th, but not for long. Number 2 batter for the Tops, Paul Murray, stepped up and chopped one to Bruins second baseman, allowing freshman Steven Tapuglia to score a winning run for the Tops, giving them a win of 3-2. Now this makes the second win on the season versus the Bruins. And over the weekend, the Tops head down to Houston for a weekend series against Rice. The game 1 of the series, the Tops took an early lead with a run in their first at-bat, and they kept this lead well into the 5th. However, a strong 7-run burst in the bottom of the 5th gave the Owls the lead and the victory. And moving to game 2 and 3 was a doubleheader of the series, a redemption the Tops were needing. However, the Tops couldn't hold up to the hot bats of the Owls. And the Owls swept the series and now have worked their way to first place in CUSA standing. And up next for the Tops, they will host UTSA this weekend for a 3-game series. The Tops are coming off a disappointing stretch where the WKU won only 1 game of their last 8. The Tops followed up a narrow 3-2 win over Belmont Bruins and a 6-2 loss at Evansville. Now UTSA is coming off a series win at Old Dominion. The Roadrunners are 7 games under 500, while the Tops are just even at 19-18. WKU is 11-6 at the Nick this year, and the Tops look to get back their winning ways tomorrow at 6.
Jumping across the road to the WKU softball complex, the Lady Toppers, much like the baseball team, couldn't find any midweek action success. Amy Tudor and company played host to the Lady Wildcats of Kentucky last night in front of an attendance record crowd for the softball complex. Just over 1,300 fans watched the 2 teams keep each other in check through the first 3 innings. However, the 4th inning is where the Wildcats pounced, knocking in 5 runs that would go on to be enough to seal the deal, leaving the record crowd headed home with a 5-0 final. The Lady Toppers had another conference struggle over the weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina. Crucial mistakes were the theme for the Tops on Saturday, as the lone run in the game 1 of the series came from a throwing error. Game 2 was a similar story. The Lady Tops gave up 3 unearned runs in the bottom of the first before dropping the second game, 11-3. With the series already decided headed into Sunday, the Tops still pulled out a 4-0 win on the back of a 2-hit pitching performance by Kat Downing. The Lady Tops will face off against Samford for a doubleheader this Saturday, adding yet another WKU sporting event to the weekend. The Lady Bulldogs are coming to Bowling Green with a bit of a hot streak, winning at least 2 games in each of their last 5 series, while losing only 3 games in the last month. The Lady Toppers will have to step up in the batter's box, with the Lady Bulldogs having 7 players with batting averages above .310 and a team average of .317. First pitch for Game 1 of the doubleheader is set for Saturday at 1. Hey Karen, for
Second cover, we've got golf coming your way.
and we'll also have some pretty special spring games to update you on. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, talking about finishing out a season on a good note, the WKU women's golf team posted a final score of 43/907 on the leaderboard yesterday at the Conference USA Championship, giving them a 4th place finish and best CUSA finish since 1997 on Wednesday, tying with UTSA. Senior Eleanor Hogg climbed up the leaderboard during all 3 days, leading the team and eventually taking home 9th in the championship. Georgina Blackman tied for 16th and Katie Story tied for 23rd. Along with the record finish, WKU had 7 top 5 finishes as a team and a championship at the Citrus Challenge Invitational in March. As far as Coach Gary, he became the 2nd coach in program history to win a tourney in each of his first 2 seasons at WKU. Coming off a 3rd place finish at the Greenbrier Collegiate Invitational, the WKU men's golf team will tee off in Texarkana, Arkansas, April 24th for their Conference USA Championship. They will begin a 3-day stroke play tournament to determine an individual medalist. Then the top 4 teams will move on to compete in match play playoff April 27th for the team championship title. It is that time of the year again, and yet another thing to go to this weekend. The WKU Volleyball Spring Tournament. The Lady Tops will play host to Austin Peay, Murray State, and Southern Illinois in E.A. Diddle Arena. WKU will kick off the tournament against Austin Peay starting Saturday at 10. The Lady Tops will then face Southern Illinois at noon and close out the tournament at 3 against Murray State.
The track and field team headed to the West Coast, Cali that is, for the Mount SAC Relays. The team turned out quite a performance and claimed 3 events, recorded 21 top 10 finishes. To name a few, sophomore Julius Morris recorded a career best in the 100-meter dash, timing in at 10.29 seconds and placing 3rd overall. Now for the women's side of things, their relays are what really shine. They placed first in the 4x400-meter relay with a time of 3 minutes and 38.88 seconds. And also over the weekend, 2 Hilltoppers earned their first Athlete of the Week conference honors. Freshman Keenan Lane earned his honor after a career best and first place finish in the high jump at Austin Peay Invitational, finishing at 2.2 meters and now makes him tied for 6th best jump in the nation. And moving to freshman Jadzia Baisley, she earned her honor after an 8th place finishing in the SAC relays, finishing with a career best of 11.38 seconds, and she is now ranked 17th in the nation. And up next for the Hilltoppers, they will head up I-65 for the Lennon Lyles Clark Wood Invitational in Louisville. Also, a portion of the team will make their way to the University of Virginia for the Virginia Challenge.
This past Saturday was a special one for the Bowling Green community as athletes from across the region were able to show off their talents at the Bowling Green Special Olympics Spring Games. I talked to a few of the people at the event to see their thoughts on the special day.
This is an opportunity to show off the skill sets that we all have, and Special Olympians are no different than the rest of us in that regard.
Oh, it does wonders. It gives our kids, of course I'm from Scottsville, but it gives our kids and all these kids something to look forward to grow and to learn and to show that what real sportsmanship's about.
It was so rewarding. He's been doing this since he's been 8 years old, and he's 27 now. And we participate in state. Can you talk to him about what do you like about going to state?
Fun. The passion in the community surrounding the event would be to this extent, especially being out here just helping out with other WKU students. And this is a really good time.
These kids are wonderful from ages 8 to 80, and they don't get a chance to have a day that's just for them. And this is their day to come out here and get applauded, right? Yeah.
As a coach, and for many years, I bubble over with pride when I not only our kids but all these kids out here, Russellville, Bowling Green, all them. It's just wonderful.
Over 160 athletes competed in a variety of games on Saturday, and winners will move on to the state competition held at EKU in June. Stick with us. Your weekly here on the Hill has anything but subpar.
And don't change the channel because we got Jimmy Stratman coming up to hit it out of the park, talking Hilltopper baseball. Welcome back. Now joining us to talk a little more WKU baseball is Red Zone Jimmy Stratman. Thanks for joining us, Jimmy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Karen and Marcus. It's a joy to come on.
Right. So thanks for joining us. Like I said, now Jimmy, this WKU baseball team, they started out very good. They were going, what was that, 8-1, 7-1?
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going 1-8. Can you elaborate on that and comment on it?
Well, to start off, you look at kind of how the season started off for them. They were beating some very good teams, and what that says to me is that some of these teams may have been suffering from a little bit of season rust. They hadn't quite gotten into the swing of things yet, and now that we're about halfway through the season, everybody started to settle down, find their way to play baseball, and they're getting into their groove. Now, Western is still coming into their groove, but as of late, they've hit a really rough patch, dropping a lot of games. It's just one of those things where I think that everybody else around them has been able to find their groove, settle down into the way that they play baseball, and now Western is going to have to try to adjust as to how they play baseball. They started off very hot. They had a new coach come in, John Pulowski, institute his own kind of small ball aspect to baseball, and while that's great, you can appreciate a coach coming in and instituting his own different type of brand of baseball, but he still has all the same players from last year. A team that showed a lot of inconsistencies when they faced off against top-ranked opponents and bottom-tier opponents. And so you're still working, you still have to work with the pieces you have, which is what Coach Pulowski is starting to figure out.
But Jimmy, one of the things that I think about is even though Coach Pulowski is a new coach and his system is new, they had, like you said, they had a lot of success in the beginning, and they even have big wins against top teams at Tennessee, at Kentucky. And Kentucky, as of last weekend, whenever they played Louisville, was a number 13 team in the nation. Now, I understand that whenever you play teams like Louisville, and which they got blown out twice, but they were able to get big wins against those big schools early. What changed from the beginning to whenever they played Louisville, they got blown out?
Well, what I think is coming into fruition is something that we've seen Western do a lot in previous years, and that's they play up to their competition and they play down to their competition. When you have top-tier teams like Louisville and Kentucky coming in and you sweep them last year, that shows me that you're playing up to the competition. You value those games higher than you do a normal Conference USA game. And the same thing is happening this year. They played teams like Georgia, Cincinnati, Tennessee, UK, all at the beginning of the season, and now you come in against a top-ranked Louisville team. You're not supposed to win that game. They were number 4 in the nation at the time. And so you lose that game, and now you see that they played up earlier in the season against this top-tier competition, but now that they're playing against Conference USA opponents, it seems like they're all just kind of stepping back and coasting a little bit through these games.
Right, Jimmy, and up next we do have some big conference games with Southern Miss, FIU. Last comment on those games coming up.
I think they're going to be very important. It's going to be interesting to see how Western can handle the pitching that they're going to face. They're also going up against the defending national champions. If they can win some of these games, they'll be able to maybe get some momentum heading towards the end of the season.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, Jimmy. Everyone, make sure to check out Red Zone Radio every Wednesday night at 7 on Revolution 91.7. And Hilltopper baseball might be the current subject, but there's another team in BG throwing strikes and swinging bats.
And as usual, we'll bring you a play that was, well, jaw-dropping. It's all coming up next. The Bowling Green Hot Rods have lost 5 out of their last 8 games to start the 2016 campaign. BG sits at 6-7 on the season after opening up the year with a 2-game home sweep of the Dayton Dragons before starting a 5-game road trip. The Hot Rods took 1 of 2 from the Dragons in Dayton and then got swept out of South Bend with 3 one-run losses. The team returned to Bowling Green to split a 4-game series with the Lansing Lugnuts before heading back up to South Bend, where they took 1 of 3 from the Cubbies. The Hot Rods head north as they continue with the lengthy series of away games. After finishing the series with the South Bend Cubs, they start a new 4-game away series with the Great Lakes Loons tonight. The two teams will face off for the first time this season with home field advantage in the Loons' favor. The Hot Rods will return home Tuesday after being away for a long 7-game stretch.
And speaking of returning home, the Hot Rods head back to Bowling Green to host the Clinton Lumber Kings out of Iowa for a 3-game series at Bowling Green Ballpark next week. The series begins a Tuesday evening and ends on Thursday. The Lumber Kings currently boast an 8-5 record heading into the coming weekend and will enter BG Ballpark next week with 4 more games under their belt, throwing a meeting with Cedar Rapids. Tuesday's first pitch is set for 6:35. And for your hero on the hill this week, she dominates on the course and she dominates in the classroom as well. She leads her team with a 7.507 stroke average per round and led WKU card in 5 tournaments, leading the Conference USA Championship. She finished inside top 20 in all but 2 of WKU's 11 tournaments this season, including 4 finishes in the top 10. Her latest feat, she became the program's top finisher in conference championships since Crystal Angelea. Finished 5th in the 2000 Sun Belt Conference. Regarding her studies, she's a second-time Conference USA academic academic team member and earned her spotlight on the team rightfully so. With a 3.97 cumulative GPA and with a major in international business, she's also earned her spot in Conference USA Commissioner's Honor Roll and Conference USA Commissioner Academic Medal. Don't you think she deserves this honor? Yeah, me too. So congratulations, Eleanor Hogg. This makes you our hero on the hill.
This week's Jaw Droppers from the NBA. So let's head on out to Chesapeake Energy Arena for Game 2 between the Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks. And here we have Raymond Felton, who has the opportunity to win the game, misses both free throws, giving a 1-point opportunity for Russell Westbrook to take it. He takes it, dishes it to Kevin Durant, puts it up and in. Steven Adams tries to put it up and in, and it makes it. But here's the question is, they initially counted it that it was good, but here, is it good? No, it's not. Or let's see what the refs say, and they wave it off, giving Dallas the win by 1 point, evening the series 1-1, as the teams will go back to Dallas for games 3 and 4 between the number 3 and 6 seed. That is their jaw-dropping moment for this week. But another jaw-dropping moment, you could say, happened yesterday on the gridiron between the red and white team for WKU football.
Right.
There was a fight at practice.
Right, Marcus. Apparently there was a fight that broke out at practice. And my opinion is, what do you think of a fight breaking out at practice?
I think it's a good thing. I think that since there are no games going on right now, except for the spring game this Saturday, the fact that you can have a little tension going into this long stretch between the spring practice and the game all the way to the regular season, I think that the fact that you can have that tension can be used as motivation going throughout the summer.
Marcus, I might have to disagree with you a little bit. I think that too much tension might be a bad thing for this WKU team. Now, there was high temperatures yesterday, so 90 degrees, and then a lot of pressure has been put on a lot of these players for that position that we're all about to find out on Saturday's game.
Now, one of the things that, and we'll touch on it just really quick, one of the things that can be talked about for this upcoming team is that defense is going to have to be relied on heavily, whereas offense has been relied on thus far in the past couple of years. Do you think defense or offense is more important?
Marcus, you know I love this conversation too much. I think it's a defensive team. Defense is what wins these games.
Offense, to me, offense is what gets it, because guess what? In order to win games, you must score points, and the offense scores points.
Correct, but in previous games, we've seen, especially in the conference game, WKU's defense is what helped seal the deal, and that's what helped them win that game. So we'll discuss this.
Well, we will continue this discussion.
We'll finish this later.
And we'll have to see this fall as far as that goes. But folks, for this edition of The Extra Point, I'm Marcus Browning.
And I'm Karen Isert.
And as always, it's up.
And it's good.
And it's good.